Woo.
Okay, let's try this again. How's everybody doing today?
Woo.
Oh, that was pitiful. That was pitiful. Come on, how's everyone doing today?
Pitiful.
That was actually better. What are you, a comedian?
Hey, I can't carry the crowd, man.
I'm not that strong. Well, I appreciate everybody coming. We do this comedy because we love it. A lot of us try to make a living from it. This pandemic has been tough. So if you like what you hear tonight and you feel like donating, please do that. We have two options. We have a Cash App, a $ button down comedy. And then we have paypal.me/BD comedy. I'll post that in the chat later, and we'll talk about it again later as well. But let's just get started into talking about this. I've been doing comedy now for about 3 years, and I found that comedy is filled with bald jokes, racial insensitivity, family dysfunction. What did I drank too much, smoked weed, or took this drug? But I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. Full head of hair, and I'm white. So what the fuck do I have to complain about? Now, when I say I'm white, if the lights went out right now, they basically put me by the door so you could find your way out. Mm-hmm. If I walked up to somebody and did the fist bump with the explosion, at that moment, it would not be cool. I was, however, a successful rapper. Of course, that involved the table at the mall around Christmas time. I did get the opportunity to see a rap video being made. A friend of mine was a promoter. We arrived around 2 a.m., this empty warehouse. And I was dressed, dress shirt, dress pants. Got out. The artist walked up to my promoter friend and said, "Hey, who's the narc?" Now, really, if I was a narc, would I dress like this? And I tell you, I'm getting real tired of all the racial profiling going on. I was at a Thai restaurant with a Jamaican friend of mine. Waitress came over, took her order. Said, "Would you like that spicy?" She said, "Yes." Came to me, took my order, said, "Would you like that mild?" I said, "Whoa, wait a minute. Just because I'm white, I want it mild. She's Jamaican, she gets it spicy. That is racial profiling. That is unfair. I want to see the manager about that. And yes, I want it spicy. I want it mild." Almost messed up my own joke. I have to say, I am impressed with the anti-mask conspiracy theorists. Their ability to take all these different conspiracies and pull them all together. I mean, the masks are to make us comply. Social distancing is to prepare us for marching. 5G is to control us. I am really excited to find out what they're going to do with Bigfoot. I mean, he's got the social distancing down. And guys, if we want the flat earthers to stop, we need to stop saying shit like 4 corners of the globe. Globe, there are no corners. And how many of you have gotten that email, that blackmail email that says, "We've got pictures of you watching porn. If you don't send us money, we're going to release it"? It is fake. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter what you do. They will never send you the video. I've asked. Someone once called me facetious. He said, "I can't be facetious. I don't even know how to spell facetious. You can't be something you can't spell. That's why I can't be a concierge." Regretfully, I know how to spell asshole. And you notice that it took Heinz 57 tries to make their sauce. Formula 409, 409 tries. A1 got it the first time? Really? What are the odds? I actually saw a sign advertising pumpkin spice facial. Do we really need more orange faces? And is orange face, is that cultural appropriation or just racist? A while ago, the New York Attorney General was suing the NRA. The NRA said that this was baseless and premeditated. Now, baseless, maybe. Premeditated, well, Of course it's premeditated. It's a legal document. Have you seen these things? It takes them weeks to put it together. It takes you months to read them. Of course it's premeditated. And then Terry Crews is complaining that we need to defund Pornhub. Somebody really needs to explain to Terry that we don't use tax dollars for Pornhub. I don't know if there's any hunters in the audience, but I did drop my first deer. Got it in one hit. Does anybody know where I can get a new car? They towed my car from the incident, and then a week later, I get a letter says, "This is to inform you that we towed your car, and here it is." Like I didn't know this already. Like for the last week, I wouldn't have been looking for my car, going to the police station, putting out a report that it was stolen, coming in a week later with this letter, but from the tow truck company, giving it to them, and then they look at it and say, "Hey, I think we know what your car is." I guess the animals just don't like me. I had a suicidal possum not that long ago too. Ran out in the road. I had to swerve to miss it. It ran in the next lane. I had to swerve back. Got to the point where I had to decide: hit the possum, hit the ditch. So I hit the possum. $1,000 worth of damage to my bumper. Can you sue a possum? I mean, I can't sue that possum. He's dead. I understand that. But like his family, his wife and his kids, can I sue them? I want them on the street. No, that's probably not a good idea. Never mind. I don't want them on the street. All right. Well, I am going to let you listen to some funnier comics than me. Our first comic, Niko Lukoff, he has actually been responsible for a Facebook page called Displaced Comedians that has really brought a lot of the international comedians together to do these type of shows. It's where a lot of the comics that you'll see tonight have come from. He's been doing comedy for about a year. As he likes to say, he's been a joke all of his life. He's been told he's happily married and excited to tell you embarrassing stories about that. So please put your hands together for Niko Lukoff.
Ooh, yeah, ooh, that's me. Yeah, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for having me. That was fun stuff, man. Yeah, definitely the narc. So the other day I sat in a tall wooden chair. That's right. It's gonna be very exciting. 14 minutes and 44 more seconds, folks. The other day I sat in a tall wooden chair. It didn't have any armrests though. It didn't have a backrest. Overall, I'd say it was pretty uncomfortable. But then I put a pillow on top. Put a pillow that actually helped out quite a bit. As it turned out, just needed a stool softener. And, I appreciate those that did laugh. If you don't laugh at that, that's fine. I get it. That's okay. I get it. That was a numb ass joke, folks. That was a numb ass joke. I don't know. Maybe just sit with it for a while. See what you think? Sit with it for a while. I don't know. I like this one. I like it. I like it. I think it's got legs. Yeah, I'm keeping that. That's solid. I was raised in the only Jewish household that had no humor. Kind of provide some context for that first bit, I think. I was raised in the only Jewish household that had no humor. We didn't joke around with each other. Our only roasts were briskets. We didn't even really use sarcasm. Yeah, that was super fun. Fuck. I'm working on sarcasm, folks. I'm working on it. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find sarcasm. If I've got to wander this land for 40 more years, that's their Jew joke. We wander. Here's what we did have though. We had lots of passive aggression. Woo, yeah, passive aggression. But I would have thought you'd have known that by now. If you cared. I think volleyball was invented for people who just don't know how to catch. They're like, basketballs are too heavy. Balloons are too light. What do we do? And then I think to make it official, they just went to a tennis court. To make it official. This one's hard on Zoom. They just grabbed the net at the tennis court and just went like this. Goal! Touchdown. Eventually, this person was replaced by some Poles. They became very tired. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I think I read that on the internet. The other day I was talking to my buddy, and he was talking about this thing he does. He's talking about how he takes like a smaller amount of shrooms than you normally take. Like he usually does a lot of shrooms. This time he take a smaller amount of shrooms and he spreads it out throughout the day. And he's like, it affects my neurotransmitters. It changed my entire life. And to what I said, I didn't ask. Like, what's next? You're a gluten-free, CrossFit, and vegan. I don't care how you consume your magical fun guy. You're not even a fun guy. And he was like, yeah, man, you just don't get it. You 0.1 milligrams of this. And I'm like, whatever, dude. He's like, no, it's cool. It's called microdosing. I was like, okay, hold up. Microdosing. Why do you need a fancy phrase to say just a little bit of drugs? He's like, nah, man, you don't get it. I'm like, dude, you're just reinforcing everything that I just said. But here's what I'm going to start doing. I'm like, here's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start taking the perfect amounts of sugar and flour and chocolate, eggs, just whip them up to perfection. But no, I'm not going to be eating dessert all day. No, I'm going to be micro caking. Just 10 milligrams of deliciousness to get through the day. No, I'm not baking 36 cupcakes at 6 a.m. No. I'm just macro baking my daily micro cakes. That's right, folks. Cupcakes are now referred to as micro cakes. Take note, there might be a test. I was telling this dude on Facebook the other day, Facebook Messenger, and he's like, hey, Niko, do you want to just hang on to Zoom? And I was like, sure. Who's got a Zoom going? Does Geo have a Zoom? Does Mike have, like, who's got a Zoom? Because usually Zoom hangs, And he's like, nah, man, I just mean just me and you. Like, whoa, buddy, pump the brakes, dude. We just met on a Zoom open mic like 3 days ago. And I get it. In COVID times, that's exactly 4.26 trillion days if you carry the one. But I kind of feel like that'd be zooming to the Zoom level of our relationship, And also look, as you heard in my intro, I'm happily married and straight. And yes, sometimes those do go together. I didn't say these things. Obviously because, I'm only an asshole on the inside, where it counts. But I was like, sure, let's hang on a Zoom. Why not? Let's Zoom. And we did, folks. We had a really good time. We shared a lot of funny stories. We just discussed like really interesting topics on this weird, completely platonic internet date. And I realized that's what a podcast is. It's just an internet date, but with a theme. And that theme could actually be having no theme. I'm sorry, Q&A. The only difference between this and a podcast is a record button, RSS feed, and begging all our friends to listen. And then it comes down to just being like, where should we hang out? My place or your place, my podcast or your podcast. But let's face it, folks, even if you don't have a place, you probably still have a podcast. So book me on your themed internet dates. I am a good time. I got busted in high school for selling weed. Yeah, because you're just not supposed to do that there. They really frown upon it, which was a bummer because I was just trying to turn frowns upside down. But I just made the same mistake that a lot of really passionate people make, and I just ruined my favorite hobby by turning it into a job. Maybe some comedians out there can relate. And this is a job I obviously wasn't very good at. I did like the main thing you're not supposed to do, getting busted. But look, I didn't know a whole lot about business. Okay, I was 15 years old. I just knew that I was supposed to buy low and sell high. I just took it a little too literally, So I did that bit a little while ago on a Zoom open mic, the buy low, sell high, pause for laughs, literally. And then at that moment, I got a direct message in the chat. I'd like to address something, folks. It's fine when we have a chat, but I got to say, is it a little weird that at a comedy show or anything, you can like just say anything you want to like everyone at one time? That's a little weird. It's like, could you imagine being at a comedy club and someone could just be like, hey, check out my waffle recipe. Or, hey, everybody, sorry, I gotta go. Don't worry, I'll leave before you can even reply. Probably my favorite, LOL. That was really funny. It's like, we know. We were there. We still are. So are you. So I get direct message in the chat. I'm obviously an incredibly professional Zoom comedian because that typically doesn't bother me, but I thought I should pay attention. In all caps, it says not to be that guy. Like, what do I need something in my teeth? Gotta find some pepper. Like, what? Is that sarcasm? Didn't you just hear? What's he talking about? And his video's off and his mic's off because it's a Zoom open mic. He writes, not to be that guy. And I'm reading the rest and I'm imagining he's angry type and he's going, but I think you meant to say figuratively instead of literally. Like, dude, you're literally being that guy right now. And you're wrong. I meant what I said. It was just semantics though, folks. He was just arguing semantics. I think he was just being anti-semantic. So at another Zoom open mic, I was like, I gotta tell this story over here. So another Zoom open mic, I'm doing the whole bit. The pilot said, pause right here. Anti-semantic, drink. Do the whole thing. And after I'm done with my set, the host, I can see clearly and I can hear clearly. He's like, Niko, you did a great job. You should get paid lots of money to tell jokes on the internet. What he actually said was, you did a great job because I did. And he said, I don't know if you remember this, but I'm actually that guy. Yes, this was the guy who did it. I hadn't seen him before. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. So when the next comedian's up doing his set, I'm whisper typing because I'm a professional Zoom comedian, whisper typing to the host, just saying like, hey man, everything's cool. I want him to know that like it was fun. I was having fun with the bit. And I swear to you, when he types back to me, he's typing so freaking loud. It's like a typewriter. You can't even hear the comedian who's going up. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is, I felt bad for the next comedian, but I was cracking up. So I did the only thing reasonable. And I typed back to him again and just said, not to be that guy, but I'm pretty sure you meant to mute your microphone. But thank you for helping me add, I don't know, about 3 minutes to my set. So I did get busted selling weed. You know, remember before that guy? I was the only Jew in juvenile hall. Yeah, I put the Jew in juvie. I got out way sooner than I was supposed to because my parents hired, well, a really good Jewish lawyer. I was very fortunate. And he just went up to the judge and he went, let my people go. And they did. They're like, 3 years? Nah, man, more like 3 weeks. Mazel tov l'chaim, yay, woohoo, free. So then I got out on probation, which meant I had to take all these drug tests. And look, I had never been good at tests, but I was very good at drug. And I figured it out. I did things with my tests to pass. You know, I studied. I wouldn't stop smoking weed because that'd be ridiculous. And I passed way more of these tests than I should have. But then the tests just became more frequent, like pot quizzes, if you will. Dad joke. But then I failed a ton of those. And it turned out the whole time, unfortunately for me, they had not been grading me on a curve. No, there's no curve for drug tests. It's a bummer. Then I got sent to rehab. You want to know what's weird about going to rehab for weed? Everything. It's like, it'd be one thing if there's rehab for weed, like that was a central focus. That's why everybody was there. Because in that case, well, we would just smoke a lot of weed in weed hab. But no, this was, you know, people here for crack, cocaine, heroin, all these things. And, you know, certainly no judgment. Everyone's got their challenges in life, but it certainly made me this entitled Jew from California who got busted for weed, the least popular kid out of rehab. First place I got sent was in the woods, in groups in the wilderness. And at one point they would actually take us individually blindfolded, bring us to a spot, take off the blindfold, give us some food and supplies and be like, hey, we'll see you later. You know, solo mission. And we'll be there for a couple of days by ourselves. And you might be thinking like, Niko, why didn't you run away? And I really did consider running away. I did, but they were actually watching us in a distance. And I knew that, which was kind of weird because when I'd smoke weed, you know, sometimes I get real paranoid. But here when we have for weed, I could just be like, there's someone behind the trees. They're watching me right there. I just know it. And they really were. They also took her shoes at night. That would just slow me down a little bit. Worst weed I ever smoked was in rehab. Yeah, it was in Western Samoa. That's 5,000 miles southwest of my hometown of San Jose, California, because that's a reasonable distance to travel for therapy. This kid stuck this weed in an old potato chip bag. The weed tasted horrible. I smoked like 4 bowls. It barely did a thing. The mac and cheese we had for dinner was horrible after that. That should not ever happen after smoking weed. So I had the audacity to complain to this guy about the weed that he brought in to share with me. But I was polite, you know. I was just like, hey, man, not to be that guy. And complaining about the weed someone that was sharing with you there certainly helped make me, this entitled Jew from California who got busted for weed, the least popular kid in rehab. Folks, I've held you captive long enough. You've been fantastic. I got to go cook some micro cakes. I think the oven's going to start dinging. You all been super fun. Got sarcasm. Yay, woo. Let's give it up for your host, Geo. Woo.
Yeah, let's hear it from Niko. Too many people have their mics off. We need volume here. Come on. Our next comedian, I've met him also doing the Zoom comedies. Michael's been doing stand-up for about 5 years around Chicago, and now you can see him on a whole bunch of virtual shows all over the place. If you go on Displaced Comedians and Facebook, you can get a lot of information on the open mics that are going around. You can watch a lot of these comics hone their craft, and they'll also see shows and such that are out and about. But let's hear it. Let's hear a big round of applause for Michael Cooper.
Hey y'all, how's it going? Hey man, I hope y'all are doing good. I'm doing good. I'm a year sober, but I think it's the wrong year.
Yeah.
It's not that there's a bad time to get sober. It's just that there were so many better times to get sober. I had 33 years to choose from, and this is the one I chose. It's making AA difficult because, like, the when other people are telling me they're bottom, like, you're not supposed to be competitive, but we all know we are, you know. So they'll be sharing how they reached their rock bottom, you know. Oh, well, I woke up, you know, I just had one drink at my daughter's wedding to celebrate her wedding, and then I woke up in the backseat of my own Honda Accord inside a Build-A-Bear workshop surrounded by decapitated Build-A-Bears with a decapitated Build-A-Bear on my penis. And then the police arrived. And that's a terrible rock bottom. And I'm glad that was that person's rock bottom. However, I got drunk the night of Black President told us he was going to give us all health care. And then I woke up inside of a fascism. And because I live in Chicago and sound like this when I talk, people keep telling me I was the one that did it. How'd you vote in 2016? Fuck, I was shit-faced. I don't remember. You know? I remember getting beaten up at a protest, but that might have been both sides. My political party is tired. That's what my political party is. I guess gun to my head, I'm an anarcho-socialist. And I know that because I used to be a progressive from Alabama, and then they held a gun to my head, and I became an anarcho-socialist. Now I know what some of y'all might be thinking. Oh, a socialist wants the government to do everything for everybody. I see. And that's true. It's not, though, that I want the government involved in our day-to-day lives. I still want to have fun, you know? For instance, y'all know on them golf courses where them rich people hang out? Whoever put alligators on those golf courses? Thank you. What was like that? I don't know why we stopped at alligators on golf courses. Why not water moccasins in the penthouses? I do wish folks understood that as an anarcho-socialist and an alcoholic, Molotov cocktails are very conflicting for me. Okay, I'm kidding. That's not how you make a Molotov cocktail. They do use liquor bottles because liquor bottles can handle that amount of heat. But you do have to remove the liquor and then replace it with okay, here's how you make a Molotov cocktail. Wait, sorry, wrong meeting. Wrong one. I have frightened all of the centrists who were here. Hey, how is it that we have people in this country who are scared enough of the virus to hoard supplies, but they're not scared enough to, stand over there, like away from me? How healthy do I look? Look at this face. Is anybody looking at this face and thinking, yeah, who's been following CDC recommendations his whole life? That guy. I look like I've been sharing needles because I couldn't figure out how meth works. We're gonna need more feedback from our audience here because it's hard to tell if I'm doing well. It's hard to know anything. So I had a pregnancy scare during the pandemic, and it was a pregnancy scare that happened inside a pandemic, inside of the biggest civil rights movement in American history. And I just want to say that was the scariest pregnancy scare I've ever had. I was also told about this pregnancy scare at midnight, and there was an 11 p.m. curfew in the city. So I couldn't do nothing about it. Like I just had to sit up all night and stress. I couldn't go to the store, get a test. I was all Googling, you ever find yourself Googling home pregnancy tests, DIY home pregnancy test at 3 o'clock in the morning? I'm all waking my girlfriend up with a Q-tip and some peanut butter, all like, hey, can you pee on this? I don't know what being a lady is. You wouldn't know this for some of the things I say, but my brother's actually a cop back home in Alabama. He was going to come to Chicago to do it, but nobody would hire him. They said he didn't have enough video editing experience. I'm glad y'all like that joke. He doesn't like it at all. He gets very upset. One thing that back home, when I tell people I'm a socialist, they always bring up to me is the guns. Oh, socialist, you're going to take my guns. You're going to take my guns. Like, meh, I don't know if I want to take your guns. I want the government to take my guns. I just don't think I should be allowed a gun. Like, I can buy an AR-15 in most states. I don't know where my car keys are at right now. I can go to a gun show without my ID, pay cash, leave no paper trail whatsoever, and leave with a weapon. And that's good because the state of Illinois took my driver's license the fuck away. Here's how much I shouldn't be allowed to own a gun. I recently found out I own a gun. I called my brother to wish him a happy birthday. And I said, hey, happy birthday. How you doing? And he said, I'm doing good. Hope you don't mind. We've been using your rifle. I didn't even ask him what he was using it for. I just hung up and moved on with my day. Rifle, you understand? Rifle, a two-handed weapon was placed in my hands, and I don't remember it at all. And Congress is fine with that. But let me slip up one time and tell people how to make a Molotov cocktail live on Facebook. I'm not a fan of of this thing we do where like nobody wants to like talk to anybody they disagree with. Like I can do that. There is one group that I just have difficulty with, and that is libertarians. I think they're lying. I noticed that libertarians are all about like small government and survival of the fittest. Then when you follow them home and bash them upside the head a few dozen times and steal their Fitbit, suddenly it's time for fairness and government intervention. Why is it that when Jeff Bezos does it, it's the invisible hand of the market? When I do it, it's advisable to seek legal counsel, and I'm no longer welcome in Rand Paul's neighborhood, and it's suggested I don't speak publicly about this incident until November of 2020 when the statute of limitations has passed. I don't know, they annoy me. They're like, but Michael, if there was no government involvement, it would just be you and your employer, just you and your employer, and then you would talk about it alone with your employer with no government involvement. And I was like, okay, so no like cops or anything. And they're like, no, there would still be law enforcement. Like, okay, well, I know how this conversation's gonna go. Like, hey boss, I can't feed my kids. They're 6 and 7. No problem, Mike. We've got jobs for them too. Everything every bit of policy libertarians ever present, it's like if a hipster went thrift shopping and has come home to tell his roommate about it. Like, it's a 100-year-old grandfather clock. I've got that on my wrist. You know, I've got that on my phone. Okay. I'm the hipster Republican. I only do racism on vinyl. So speaking of racism, we have apparently had some fairly recent incidents that led to some very justified looting. And I liked that last part. I enjoyed it. People were complaining. They were like, oh, all the non-essential retail is closed. And I was like, that looks pretty open to me. Like, that guy was at Best Buy all day. My family actually called me to check on me because of the riots. And I was like, why are you checking on me because of looting? They're like, well, we heard that they were running inside Targets and stealing everything. And I was like, how much stuff do you think I own? I own a half a pack of cigarettes and an acoustic guitar. So, real quick, I'm going to leave y'all with this. We had some wildfires this year, and that's not fun. And my heart goes out to anybody who was impacted by them. One of those wildfires was contributed to by a gender reveal party. So the kid isn't even born yet, but their party fucks up a whole coast. I'm not in the business of telling anybody how to raise their kids. But if that's your kid, you need to abort that kid. What the fuck's gonna happen on its first birthday? A goddamn oil spill? Scientists at NASA are trying to get us to Mars by 2036 so we can dodge this little shit's Sweet 16. Can I have a free shot? It's my birthday. No, I quit and I'm leaving. All right, I got to listen to Freebird while I cut myself. Give it up for Geo, y'all.
Woo! That's it for Michael Cooper. Woo! Still a quiet audience. Come on, guys. We want to hear from you. Our next comic, our headliner, he's headlining 14 different countries, has been featured at Zany's and the Laugh Factory. Let's give it up for John McCombs.
Yo.
Yay.
Oh man, I don't believe most of you even exist, audience. Obviously, like audience attendee. What kind of? Come on, man. Like, fucking. All right, that's Rudy Giuliani, isn't it? That's who that is. It's trying to. I bet if we start talking about voter fraud, we'll get a lot more viewers. I I don't want him to concede. Okay, I'll be honest. I don't want him to concede solely because I want America as a whole to experience what it's like to watch a comic run the light when they're bombing. Okay, that's literally what this is right now. It's like this guy's he's not getting off stage. Like he's starting another bit. He's gonna start another bit. Like, oh man. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. So Dr. James, are you a real doctor? I'm just gonna start calling people out because I don't believe they're actually here. I don't honestly. You are?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I'm
Cool.
a chiropractor in Nashville.
A chiropractor. All right. That's
Mhm.
all right. Well, you from Nashville, you said, right?
No, Asheville. I live near George.
Ah, okay. I was like, I don't know, dude. Something about like a doctor with a Southern accent. I'm not entirely sure. I'm like,
it gets better than that. I only have a Southern accent when I'm drinking, and I'm legally blind, so I don't go walking around much after I've been drinking.
so how often are you in the doctor's office drinking and just, where's your back?
Well, no. A special Thursday afternoon, some nice patients will stop by and with a bottle of Jack Daniels or something, and then we'll take care of them, and then we'll have a shot. And
wait. Your patients bring you liquor.
Dude, yeah, of course
What?
they do. They bring me.
What insurance are you accepting, dude? Like,
this is Buncombe County, man.
fuck, I need to head down there. God damn, I can get a lot of. Hey, what do I get for like a fucking bottle of Captain Morgan? Let's get these teeth fixed. All right. Like,
Right.
so I was right. You're not a real doctor. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Man, where do I go from here? I'm having fun, but I used to live in North Carolina. Asheville, North Carolina, correct? Or okay, yeah. I used to live in North Carolina because I was stationed down there. I was in the military, and because I was and so me living in North Carolina, I got to know a lot of like rednecks. I'll just say rednecks. And I appreciate them because rednecks, I need redneck friends in my life because I live in Chicago. I have a lot of woke friends. And honestly, I can't use them. I need backup in fights. Okay. That's what it comes down to. All right. I talk a lot of shit. I get in bar fights. And who do I want backing me up? My woke friends or the guy who walked in the bar praying this shit would happen? Right. That's what I want. Most of my woke friends could be defeated with a well-thrown handful of peanuts. Okay. Several of my redneck friends have had rabies before, so they ain't allergic to shit. They have more fun. I'll just say it. They have more fun. Honestly, like Mike, I know because they combine like fun shit together. Like I know, Mike, you've gone swimming in a pickup truck before, right? Like, yeah, exactly. F-150 hot tub, vroom vroom, splash splash. There you go, man. But have you had biscuits and gravy on fentanyl? Like I tell you, give it a shot, man. Try to eat it all before you get too sleepy. That's what. Oh boy. I'm all over the place now. I just wanted to try and see if I could do that. Cool. Yeah. So pandemic's happening. Everybody's kind of in their own trying to deal with it. I gotta say though, fuck everyone who decided this is the year they're going to improve their lives. Like this is the time. I know, Mike, you stopped drinking, but like I'm talking like the people who like, I lost 20 pounds and I took up new hobbies. You know what? I took up shrooms every day. That's what I've been taking. I start my morning with a good 2-hour cry in the shower. Right? And these are all like my worst friends. They're not good people. Like they did it. Like it's different. Like honestly, if you started January 1st, if you kept your New Year's resolutions, you get to be president. Okay. Because you're clearly better than the rest of us. God bless you. But like people whose who were just like pieces of shit before this. Like, and then now they use the pandemic to get their lives together. Like when society was functioning, they were just raw dogging Tinder dates on beds held up by cinder blocks. And now that like we can't, like we're on the verge of civil war, they're like, I'm gonna learn how to make pumpernickel. Those people are ridiculous, man. So anyways, damn it, John, you went back to telling bits, and then people were like, nah, we want you to make fun of us again. All right. No, it's all good, man. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. I do think I know, like, at the end of the day, I knew we were going to get through this. I knew we were going to still be together as a country because we've been through tough times before. All right, like World War II. And I noticed that we had coping mechanisms for getting through tough times. If you ever watch like an old World War II newsreel, they always have that guy with like the high-pitched helium voice. You know, that guy's like, and look at our boys on their way to fight for Uncle Sam. Remember, boys, no day of killing Nazis is complete without a pack of Lucky Strike cigarettes. And I realized that guy doesn't exist. Nobody has that voice. They just made up that voice to make the news not sound so depressing. And that's how I feel like we could get through that. That we should bring back that voice. So anytime we turn on the news and they're like, and another 100,000 new cases of coronavirus were confirmed yesterday. Looks like somebody forgot to drink their Ovaltine. Wildfires on the West Coast have destroyed another 1 million acres of forested land, making way for fabulous new Amazon warehouses. Amazon.com, where Dames could go shopping without leaving the kitchen. I don't know. So yeah, so they should bring back that voice, is what I'm saying. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through jokes. Like I wrote a lot of shit this year, and like one thing is decent. Mike, you said you almost had a pregnancy scare during the pandemic. I've been thinking about if I would be an okay father, and I don't know. Like I have a lot of problems with commitment, which is okay in the United States, you know, because if you have a baby within the first 30 days. You could take it to a hospital or a fire station and get your money back. We call it the safe haven law. Yeah, I like that we have a free trial period for people here. You know, you got to hand in the baby undamaged, of course. You can't hand it in and they're like, did you spill Mountain Dew on this? I do think 30 days is kind of short though. You know, like, I don't know. I would end up being a parent because I would wake up on day 32, just like, shit. Why didn't you remind me? Like, and then I'm trying to hand a kid back, and they're like, yeah, this birth certificate said this kid was born 3 years ago. And I'm just like, well, you know, that's bullshit. Okay, this is a perfectly good kid. Look at him. You can shake him and everything. He's better than the new ones. You know, I don't know. Like, you have more time to decide if you want showtime than a person. That's insane to me. How is that? Like, you just look at, you're like, yeah, this baby is cool, but I gotta be honest, there's not a lot of content here, okay? And then all your parent friends are, you know, just like, oh, you just wait till season 2, dude. You're gonna be hooked. It's gonna start talking and shit. It's gonna be amazing. I don't know. Yeah, okay. So the first part of that one's good. And let's see. I had a good childhood though, I think, personally myself. I miss going to, one of the things I miss from being a kid, like the pure excitement of things, like small things. Like I really miss going to the pool as a kid. Because I think as a kid, any place with a pool was like the coolest place you could possibly be. Like YMCA, friend's house, crack den, didn't matter. You know, back of Mike's pickup truck. It was awesome. You know, but yeah, I mean, it didn't matter. You were having fun, and that's why I think if you had to break bad news to a child, you do it at the pool. You know, because they're gonna forget about it immediately. Like, yeah, Susie, mommy and I are getting a divorce. Splash fight. I don't know. That's what you do. It's just anything, you know. Like divorce, death in the family, putting a dog down, do it in the pool. Just hold Lassie under. Just until the little floaties are the only thing keeping them up. I don't know. I know I do an animal abuse joke and people pull back on it, but you know what? I always say animal abuse is funny if you always imagining it happening to a corgi. Because corgis are the clowns of dogs, and it's hilarious. I don't know. I know. It's fucked up, but I just imagine like all that Michael Vick shit, but now he's just choking corgis. It's funny. It's if there's a white woman on here, she is pissed. Okay. Stacy, Megan, are either of you white? I don't know. All right, I guess we'll never find out. They're just like they're falling asleep, and they're like, "Yeah, we." All right. Anyways, let me see. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, and so when growing up in the city, there's like this rift between people who grew up in the city and people who grew up in the suburbs of the city. Because they'll always try to call you out. They're like, man, what you know about living in the city, man? Like, okay, you from Chicago, okay? When was the first time you saw someone masturbate? Yeah? Huh? Oh, 12? Man, take your ass back to Joliet. I don't know what kind of lessons we teach kids when they grow up in a city, because I couldn't imagine raising kids in a city. Because you start off like, hey, kids, I know we learned about sharing and being kind to one another, but we live in Chicago. And so sometimes in Chicago, we have to pretend that some people don't exist. And that brings us to our phrase of the day, never make eye contact. That's right. Just brings bullshit. That's right. If we're on the bus, I know that man needs mental health assistance, but we're just going to do what everybody else does and check our Facebook. Okay, we are checking. No, Sally, we don't look up. I know he's trying to turn into a Super Saiyan, but Facebook is the most interesting thing in our lives right now. Okay. I don't know where everybody's from. Who's from like someplace far away? Anybody from like, oh, hey, there's Dr. James. All right, there we go. Who's like from the furthest from Chicago? Anybody further than Nashville? How about you, audience attendee? This is great. I love this because it's like, what's that? Oh, no. Okay, it is great because sometimes you feel like confident as a human being, and then you do this, and then you're like, oh yeah, I needed this. I felt too good about myself. I needed to be smacked back down to earth because, when you do comedy, I'd say ask the host, he'll tell you. When you do comedy for a while, you get used to people when they don't care to see you, they actually just take out their phones and start texting and right in front of you. But this is even better because I can't even see your faces. This is great. This is like, honestly, before they had cell phones, if you just wanted to tell the comic you don't fuck with them, you just took out a newspaper and just read Garfield right in front of their faces. And oh man, no, this is going well. I like this. Let me see. Okay, we did talk a little bit about all the shit that happened, like with the protests and whatnot, and people vocalizing support for Black Lives Matter. And I think some people took it in a direction that was weird, mostly like the businesses, because like they just didn't get it. Like they were like, Black Lives Matter, that's why we're getting rid of Aunt Jemima. And all Black people were like, did we ask for that shit? Like, what? Who did anybody say like we would want lunch? I mean, I like pancakes. I don't know about you. And the weirdest one was Netflix. Netflix like took it. Netflix became like too woke. Like Netflix became like my Hotep cousin, like just aggressively Black, just like converted to Islam levels of Black. Like 2 weeks after George Floyd, I logged on to Netflix and it's like, hey, brother, you're just going to watch these white devils on Breaking Bad. You're going to learn about the struggle. I'm like, whoa, Jesus. Check out our Black Lives Matter collection. I'm like, okay, relax, Netflix. I mean, you got like, do you have like Friday or something? Fuck that, Malcolm X. That movie's 3 hours long, too. It's too much, man. It was way too much, you know? I'll be honest, like there are a lot of things that, I mean, living in Chicago, what I've noticed is a lot of things that Black people do wrong, all right? Catcalling, big one, you know? Because I've noticed that people who catcall the most are older Black men. And the people they love to catcall the most are younger Black men dressed nicely, all right? So I had a job interview downtown, dressed in a suit, and by the time I got there, I felt like the most employable piece of ass. Okay. Anytime I passed by an older Black man, all I heard was, "Oh, okay, look at you, young blood. You out here trying to get a job. You trying to fuck. That's what I like to see." I don't know. I don't know what it is. Anytime an older Black man sees a younger Black man with his shirt tucked in, his dick gets hard. Okay, it's Viagra for them. Like, oh, you got yourself a Windsor now? Look at you, looking all employable and sexy and shit. Okay, look at you. And I tried to mess him up. You know, I was like, yo, man, I'm actually not on my way to the job. I'm on my way to court. You know, and I didn't stop him at all. He's like, well, fight them charges in, young blood. Like, don't let them get you down. It's like, yeah, you know, it's a whole custody battle thing. It's like, okay, you out here looking after your own. That's what I like to see, you looking after your own. It's like, yeah, you know, she's trying to force custody on me, and I don't fucking want them, you know. Oh, well, fuck them little motherfuckers in young blood. Like, oh man, yeah, fun times. I don't know how this joke is going to go over here because I only know the race of one of our audience members, but I like Chris Rock. I'm sure many of you know Chris Rock and are familiar with his bit about like you know, the two types of Black people, and I think we need to update that because he wrote that back in the 90s, and there's not just two types of Black people anymore. It's not just Black people and niggas. It's Black people, niggas on social media. And that's two different worlds, okay? Some of you may not understand because you're like, oh, I know a lot of Black people. You don't know a lot of niggas though, okay? It's totally different social, like Black social media is like, okay, what are these rappers and all their music has to go, who do you choose? Nigga social media is like, okay, what are these porn stars and every time they made you nut has to go, who do you choose? Like I had to stop following some of my friends because I would be on the train swiping through Instagram stories and just puppies and jokes and all of a sudden ass, just everywhere. Like, and I used to wonder sometimes why on porn sites they would have like buttons below the video to share it on social media. Like, who actually uses these? Niggas, that's who. They've been sharing those videos. That's their mindset. They're like, yo, I'm about to come. You know who needs to know this? John. Like, let's send him this video and fuck up his evening with his girlfriend. Like, I don't know. Like Black Facebook is basically seeing a post like, damn, man, I can't believe my favorite rapper got shot and killed in downtown Chicago today, you know? Like Lil Cum Drop made songs that spoke to me and really lifted me up during these darkest days. And nigga Facebook is like, yo, your boy's coming to you on Facebook Live. I just peeped Lil Cum Drop downtown. I'm about to smoke this fool. Don't nobody say nothing to the police. You know, Black social media is like a picture of a Black pharaoh. Like, remember when we descended from kings and queens? We can do anything. And nigga social media is like, all right, who's willing to trade a WAP for a PS5? Like, all right, we suffered through it. I'm done with that part. I know some of you probably were like, okay, let's get through it. All right. Anyways, moving on.
Encore.
There you go. Well, hey, I let's talk about white people now. Okay. Because I asked this honestly, but why is every white immigrant story amazing? Every single time I hear a story about a white immigrant, it's always like, my grandfather came to this country with $10 in his pocket. Lo and behold, 4 months later, he owned Lake Michigan. Like, they're always incredible. Like, where's the mediocre white immigrant story? I want to hear that one. I want to hear, my grandmother came here with everything she owned in one suitcase, and in 3 months, she died of syphilis. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's like I kind of think of like because I was thinking I might move away from this country, you know, because American immigrants, we go to other places and I feel like we have to be the worst immigrants, right? Like our immigrant stories ain't shit, you know. It's like, yeah, it wasn't easy moving to Haiti. You know, I showed up with just $25 in my pocket. Within 3 months, I spent that $25. You know, but people come here like fleeing war and famine. You know, like I've heard stories like my Jewish grandmother fled Nazi Germany in the 30s. Yeah, like yeah, my grandmother fled Detroit. That's what. But all we flee are annoying relatives. Like you can't exchange that immigrant story. You can't be like, I don't know, in Germany or something, talking to some guy. He's like, yeah, you know, ISIS had came to my village one day and they burned it down and beheaded my brother, and that's when I knew that we had no choice but to leave. I was like, well, I know what you mean, Muhammad. I mean, if I had to sit through one more Thanksgiving with Uncle Bill, God damn it. Wearing an All Lives Matter t-shirt, I just knew I had to get out. Like, yes, and we walked for days through the burning desert, unsure that if the thirst didn't kill us, the terrorists would. Could you believe they overbooked my flight? I mean, I am a Platinum Plus member. I mean, I had to wait 12 hours in the airport. Worst part is I forgot my charger. All right. I'll tell you one more. My girlfriend, she's actually an immigrant, or I mean, she's not an immigrant. She lives here now, but she's from Finland. So she has this very cute, sexy accent that I find, you know, very irresistible for 1 month. And now I'm like, oh, this is a speech impediment this whole time. Yeah, because you know, I think an accent makes you think a certain way about a person. You know, it makes you overlook some red flags. You know, because at first when we were dating, I was describing her like, yeah, she's a short, feisty girl who loves tattoos, wearing yellow, and hoop earrings. And now I'm like, oh, she's a gang member. That's what she is. She's a Latin queen this entire time. You know, but she obviously speaks Finnish and English, and I wish we spoke multiple languages, because you know, in the United States we speak English because that's the language that Jesus speaks. So we just, I don't know. I feel so untalented because I can't speak more than one language. I've been over to Europe and I've had a bus driver. To be a bus driver, he had to know multiple languages. Here, to be a bus driver, you just need a felony. That's it. You know. So I don't know. She's been keeping me company throughout this whole quarantine, and she's been, you know, it's been good between us. How much time am I at, Geo?
You're 23. You can go as long.
23. All right, cool. Yeah, here's okay. I haven't told this one yet, and you're about to find out why. She used to date a basketball player, like she used to date athletes, and people would ask like, hey, John, does that ever like intimidate you? You know, are you ever like intimidated because she dated these huge ball players and, you know, now she's dating you? And I'm like, why is that never the other thing? Why it's always like, man, she's dated a guy with a huge dick or whatever it is. Like, why is it never like an athlete's dating her and it's like, oh shit, her last boyfriend was a poet, you know? He must have eaten the shit out of her pussy. Just okay, that got what it was worth. That's all right. I think that's it for me, y'all. Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Woo!
All right, let's do it for all of our comics on Niko Lukoff, Michael Cooper, and James McCombs. Thank you guys for coming. Great show. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. Again, if you did enjoy it and would like to help these guys, make it through the pandemic, doing what they love doing, please feel free to donate at paypal.me/BD Comedy or Cash App $button-down-comedy. Let's hear it for our comics, everybody. Thank you for coming. We will have another show in 2 weeks on December 4th, I believe it is. So please, hopefully you'll come back and watch another show with us. Thanks, everybody. You have a great evening.
Thanks for doing it.
Hey, thanks, Geo.
Welcome.